Good morning, students. We come up with the general anatomy lecture of differences between sympathetic and parasympathetic system. So therefore, here we go with one side sympathetic and on other side parasympathetic. Please note down sympathetic and parasympathetic. This discussion will be very much helpful to you throughout your entire tenure. Even in your post-graduation it will be helpful because this is the general, the basics. So therefore, the first difference, we start with sympathetic system. In our human body, sympathetic system, it presents a definite anatomical entity. So it is having a definitive anatomical entity, a definite anatomical structure. In parasympathetic, it does not have a definite anatomical entity because this parasympathetic structure in human body is present surrounding the various cranial as well as the various sacral nerves. This is the first difference, general. Now, more important and more interesting differences, we come to difference number 2. Here we consider one of the important aspects of autonomic nervous system. We know the autonomic nervous system has afferents as well as efferents. Afferents are sensations which are received and efferents are motor impulses which are generated. So here we discuss the efferent pathway. So please note down the efferent. Please note down it is the efferent pathway or efferents. Now in efferents of sympathetic system, there will be preganglionic neurons. This is very important. This is the starting point of the efferent pathway. So preganglionic neurons, these preganglionic neurons are those neurons from where the efferent pathway for sympathetic system will start. Where are they located? They are located in the lateral horn cells of T1 till L2 spinal cord. So, in the lateral horn cells from, this is very important, T1 till L2 level. So therefore, in the entire spinal cord, in the lateral horn cells of the entire spinal cord from T1 till L2 level, that is the origin of preganglionic efferent neurons for sympathetic system. Please note down, very important. For preganglionic, now here the preganglionic neurons in case of efferents for parasympathetic will be disposed at 2 different levels. Here the first level will be cranial and second will be sacral. In case of cranial region, the preganglionic neurons are located within the various nuclei. What are those nuclei? So I will write the nuclei here. Edinger-Westphal nuclei, which are the nuclei for third cranial nerve. Edinger-Westphal nuclei. These are the nuclei for the third cranial nerve. They are preganglionic neurons for efferent pathways in parasympathetic system. Second, like this only, second will be superior salivatory nuclei. Again, superior salivatory nuclei. Remember, all these structures are present within the brain. That is why cranial structures. Now, superior salivatory nuclei, they are another parasympathetic group of nuclei because they contain preganglionic neurons, of course, efferent pathway. So they are parasympathetic group of nuclei. They are present for, just as Edinger-Westphal nucleus is for the third cranial nerve, superior salivatory nuclei are present in relation with the 7th cranial nerve. So therefore, this is the 7th cranial nerve. Similarly, there will be inferior salivatory nuclei, and these nuclei will be for the 9th cranial nerve. that will be glossopharyngeal nerve. 7th is facial nerve. So 9th is glossopharyngeal, where it will have inferior salivatory nuclei, that is the parasympathetic preganglionic neurons, which are located in the inferior salivatory nuclei of the 9th cranial nerve. And the last one will be dorsal nucleus of which nerve? Vagus nerve. It is the 10th cranial nerve. So these are the 4 neurons, these are the 4 nuclei which are associated with the oculomotor, facial, glossopharyngeal and vagus nerves. And the names here to remember, they are the preganglionic neurons, that is from where the efferent pathway for parasympathetic will start in cranial region. Now sacral. In case of sacral region, the preganglionic neurons in sacral region are located in the same manner here. Lateral horn cells. So once again, the lateral horn cells, but of which region? S2, S3, S4 segments. Sacral segments. Which sacral segments? S2, 3 and 4 sacral segments. So lateral horn cells of S, that is sacral, 2nd, 3rd and 4th sacral segments, their lateral horn cells will provide the preganglionic fibers. They will serve as the origin of preganglionic neurons in sacral region for parasympathetic system. Now this is the basic, this is the fundamental. So therefore here we end our preganglionic neurons for the efferent pathway. Now structure of the same preganglionic neurons, which we will include in differences. Difference number 3. 3 and 4 we'll consider together, and then I'll show you with the diagram. Now in 3, the preganglionic neuron for sympathetic system will be very short. So here you have to mention the preganglionic neuron will be, it will be very short. And here in 3, parasympathetic, difference number 3, the preganglionic neuron will be, this preganglionic neuron will be very long. It will be a long neuron. Then difference number 4. One preganglionic neuron will synapse with, around 20 or more postganglionic neurons in sympathetic system. Around 20 or more postganglionic neurons. They will synapse, one will synapse with around 20 or more postganglionic neurons in case of sympathetic system. And the length of postganglionic neurons will be more than preganglionic. Whereas in parasympathetic system, how interesting, see, it is one preganglionic neuron which is very long, one preganglionic neuron which is very long will synapse with only 1 or 2. So it will synapse with generalized only 1 postganglionic neuron. And this postganglionic neuron, the size will be smaller than the preganglionic in case of parasympathetic. See the ratio 1:1, but the size of postganglionic will be smaller than preganglionic of parasympathetic. Now to understand this with the diagram, line diagram, we will show. So in case of line diagram, please come on this side. Here we will show that this is preganglionic neuron and this preganglionic neuron is of sympathetic system. Here it will divide into various subdivisions which we are showing. So it will end here in this way. This is one entire preganglionic neuron. As we have noted that one preganglionic neuron of sympathetic system will synapse with around 20 postganglionic neurons. So therefore it is dividing. From here we show there are various postganglionic neurons which are coming out. Postganglionic neurons which are coming out. So they are synapsing and they are passing like this. Now here, what is more important is you show that these neurons are extended in length. Postganglionic neurons, they are extended in length. So therefore, now here, if I write, this is a line diagram, simple line diagram, preganglionic sympathetic neuron. One preganglionic sympathetic neuron, short in length, it is dividing and having synapse with the postganglionic neurons around 20 or more. These are the postganglionic neurons, multiple. So therefore, this will produce a mass reaction. It will produce a mass reaction, a chain reaction. This is the basic line diagram of sympathetic, preganglionic and postganglionic neuron. Very simple to understand. Now parasympathetic. Now if I write here parasympathetic, this is parasympathetic, and if I try and show here with a line diagram, this is a preganglionic neuron, only one having long preganglionic fiber, and then it will synapse, only one postganglionic neuron. The length of postganglionic neuron is shorter than preganglionic, and one preganglionic will synapse with one postganglionic neuron. This is parasympathetic. Very simple. Now here this parasympathetic system, as a result of this normal anatomy, simple anatomy, it will produce, on stimulation it will produce not mass reaction like sympathetic, but it will produce localized and acute reaction in the human body on stimulation. That is very important. So therefore, based upon these two diagrams which you need to draw during this discussion, fifth difference which we would like to add will be, if we come on this side, the fifth difference will be here, I will add difference number 5, and in difference number 5, I will add on stimulation, please note down, on stimulation it will produce a mass reaction, sympathetic system. And what does this mass reaction involve? So now here comes the very important point, because what now I am going to discuss is often asked in MCQs. Because of this mass reaction in the body, there will be, number one, constriction of cutaneous blood vessels. Number two, there will be dilatation of coronary and skeletal blood vessels. Number three, there will be increase in blood pressure. Number four, there will be dilatation of the pupil. Number five, the sphincters of the gut will be closed and peristalsis will be inhibited in the intestine. These are the mass reaction, these are the changes which will take place in the human body on stimulation of sympathetic system, if you note down. And therefore, because of these changes which I have discussed with you, this sympathetic system is known as catabolic. It is catabolic system. So therefore, the name given here will be catabolic. That is, this now works for today itself. Similar changes now here, fifth difference. What are the changes on stimulation? On stimulation of parasympathetic, as I told you, there will be localized reaction, accurate reaction in the human body. So the changes will be, please note down, there will be decrease in blood pressure, the pupils will be constricted, then there will be increase in glandular secretions in the GIT, there will be increase in peristalsis in the GIT, the sphincters will be motor for the parasympathetic, they will function. There will be a lot of secretion and absorption taking place in the GIT. As I told you, the blood pressure is decreased, and therefore, because of these reactions on stimulation of parasympathetic system, it is known as anabolic in function. So because it is localized, it is known as anabolic in function. Sympathetic was catabolic, parasympathetic is anabolic. Anabolic means it is anabolic in function, and therefore this parasympathetic, it will work for tomorrow. As sympathetic is working for 2 days, parasympathetic is for tomorrow. Sympathetic is catabolic and parasympathetic is anabolic. So these reactions on stimulation of sympathetic system and reactions on stimulation of parasympathetic system, they are very important. And that is why you need to understand these differences. Now difference number 6, we take the difference number 6, and in difference number 6, please come on this side, we'll come on this side, I'm having space here, I will just rub it. We start with the general anatomical feature of the post-ganglionic parts of the efferent pathway, sympathetic and parasympathetic. We start with the post-ganglionic parts of efferent pathway. So therefore, now here, once again, we start with sympathetic, and here I will write parasympathetic, and here I will draw a perpendicular line, and we start with difference number 6. In difference number 6, very important is the entire post-ganglionic part of sympathetic system will consist of three different sites of ganglia: lateral, collateral ganglia and terminal ganglia. Now these things you need to note down. They are very much asked as a part of general anatomy or in MCQ's 1-mark question answer. The post-ganglionic sympathetic pathway will have presence of lateral ganglia, collateral ganglia and terminal ganglia. I am coming to that. Similarly here, parasympathetic pathway, the post-ganglionic parasympathetic pathway will have only 2 ganglia. Instead of lateral, there will be collateral ganglia and terminal ganglia only. Now, name all the 3 ganglia of sympathetic post-ganglionic pathway. Lateral ganglia, in case of sympathetic pathway, lateral ganglia. Now remember, during the discussion of white and grey I have discussed with you, there is a pair of sympathetic chain, ganglionated sympathetic chain. And this pair of ganglionated sympathetic chain, right and left side, is on either side of vertebral column. So it is paravertebral in position. And it starts from the base of the skull till the coccyx. And therefore, it has presence of various ganglia which are interconnected in longitudinal direction. And these ganglia in cervical region are 3 pairs. In case of thoracic region, there are 11 pairs. In case of lumbar region, there are 4 pairs. In case of sacral region, there are 4 pairs. And in coccyx, only 1, because right and left, they will join with each other and fuse in the coccyx. So these ganglia, which are present in cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacral, and in the coccygeal region 1, these ganglia totally are included in lateral ganglia of post-ganglionic sympathetic pathway. So here you can simply write down the sympathetic chain, which is included in the lateral ganglia, sympathetic chain. Collateral ganglia, from this sympathetic chain, the post-ganglionic fibers will then pass to collateral ganglia, which are located at various places in the human body. Give examples. Where are they located? The collateral ganglia which are located are, see the names. You have to note down the names. They are in the form of plexus. So, celiac plexus, then superior mesenteric plexus, then inferior mesenteric plexus, then aortico-renal ganglia, and superior hypogastric ganglia.